So let's really start to utilize our grids here. I'm going to go ahead and line some of this up to our grid. This will help us find the right spacing and the right balance for certain items. And I'm going to create outlines if I'm happy with the spacing. That'll just give me a little bit more control over the type. I can also select both elements and do a perfect center align for those. Those are now center aligned. So now we need to find the right balance for our little symbol here. So we can put it in one box just like this. And then this takes up 3 boxes. That takes up 1 box. So the logo mark is 1/3 of the width of the type. We can find out if that's going to be good, or if we need to make it bigger, that's fine, but that's it perfectly aligned to the grid. And we can also put spacing here, so we can have this rest on this bar and then move this up so there's 1 row of boxes difference between the top and the bottom. And then there's 2 here, so why don't we bring this down? So we have like 1 bar of spacing here and 1 bar of spacing here. Go ahead and bring that down to the bottom of this particular box. So just kind of helping us guide us. And when I zoom out, I think the typeface is too big, or the typography is too big. The symbol needs to be a little bit bigger. And that's okay. We can always make this a bit smaller. Bring it back. Doesn't have to go all the way on the bigger boxes. You can bring it down. Put 2 boxes space here and 2 boxes of space here. And not everything has to align to the bigger boxes. That's not a requirement. The grids are just a help. They're not something you have to abide by perfectly. There's some optical adjustment you can always do manually to get the right balance. So when I zoom out, I think that looks pretty good. We've got some good spacing there. Let's go ahead and make sure we have the same spacing. Let's go ahead and have the tip of this. So we have the tip of this left side. Let's go ahead and take this and make it big enough where the right side balances. So that's taken up 1 width of a bigger square. So in terms of balance, I think that's looking good. Let's go ahead and toggle off our grids for right now. We'll need them again later. I think this strikes a good balance for what I'm going for. So now let's really hone in on our type choice. So we have our type choice. We're pretty happy. What I think I can do is I can soften the type characters and give them a little bit of a rounded edge, like I've done a lot throughout this class. I just think it adds a little bit of a modern touch, just softening those really sharp corners, especially since we have a wave and this is a female kind of spa, and we want to kind of have a softness here because, you know, we decided to go away from the lowercase, which has a kind of a softness. So we really need to soften this thicker typeface. So I'm just going to go in, I already created outlines. I'm just going to kind of soften all the edges. Ooh, you know what I just did by accident? And this happens quite a bit. Is I made a little drop, a little water drop here out of the A. And that's just when I softened the corners. I did that, soften the corners, it rounded that A, kind of made a little water drop. And out of the negative space there, that's a total accident, but I think that's definitely an element I would want to bring up to the client and say, hey, look at this, you know, and don't tell them it was by accident. Tell them it was, you know, your creative awesomeness. That's what you want to tell them. So that's softened the type a little bit, and let me go back and just reduce this just a little bit more. Notice how the C character is in 1 box and the M is in 1 box, and they're both 1 over from the center square, so that's good. So great. I think we're good with type, good with spacing, good with balance. So now it's going to be discovering color and color palettes, and then we're going to get different arrangements, because this is a great logo when you have lots of wide space to place it, but logos always have to fit in these very awkward spaces. They have to fit on these really small social media spaces and square spaces on Instagram. So we're going to create a lot of different sizes and variations, and then finally, once we do the colors, we get all the different variations. We can send all the files to the client and get those ready, and then we'll be done.